Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl a.lashae. If you're new here, go ahead and subscribe. And if you're returning, what's up? It's good to see y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and jump right into the video. So as you guys can tell, my hair is a different color. I was supposed to take y'all along for wash day, and I will have that video posted soon. But obviously when you dye your hair, you're not supposed to strip your hair of the protein and nutrients in it beforehand. When you wash your hair, that's what you're doing. So I didn't wash my hair. Wash day never happened, but until then, y'all gonna get what y'all get. So yeah, I also will have a video following this video. Maybe, I don't really know what order I'm going to post them in, but I will have a video highlighting the process of how I did this, because nooooo was not professional. We did not go to a salon to do this. She came about through the help of friends. But I don't really think it looks bad. This side is way less defined than this side. The curls is here to play on this side, and these curls just got invited to the party. Anywho, 5 things they don't tell you before going natural. So if you guys don't know, my big chop anniversary, or I'm sorry, my big chop day is February 7th. February 7th, 2015. That is when my big chop day was, and it is now whatever day Labor Day is in 2020. I've been natural 5 years, so when I did this process, I was lightening it on virgin hair, but outside of that, I went natural with no help. I didn't know anything about going natural, so I big chopped back in 2015, and I had nobody around me who had natural hair. I had no influence whatsoever. I wasn't following anyone's natural hair journey, nothing at all. I kind of just was like, I was living with my boyfriend at the time, and I'm like, hey, you want to cut my hair? And he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm tired of this perm. I had transitioned for a little bit. I had transitioned for maybe anywhere from like 7 or 8 months to a year, roughly. So I did have a little bit of new growth. I did have, you know, the discombobulated, not uniform type hair. I had new growth and then silky hair from the perm. It was, I don't have pictures. If I had them, I would insert them, but I don't. I have no photos transitioning that period, so I'm sorry for that, y'all. But yeah, that was an interesting time. So like I said, I went natural with no help. I had my boyfriend cut off all my hair. We took scissors to it, and then he went ahead and went through it with the clippers and everything. And so I really have just been growing my hair since then through the method of trial and error. And it's been a journey. But basically, I'm here to help y'all cut down on any tips and tricks that you might need, anything to help you jump over that hurdle. And like I said, I only have 5 things, but these 5 things I thought were important because they were things that I had to learn. Nobody told me these. I had to figure it out for myself. The first one is to find a regimen. Now, of course, when you're at TWA, which is teeny weeny afro length, you may or may not have a regimen, but as your hair starts to get longer and gravity starts to pull it and your curls actually drop, you want to make sure that you have a healthy hair care regimen. Now, that doesn't mean that you only stick to the products that you know, or that you only do certain things on certain days. Your regimen can incorporate different things, as you should, because your hair is constantly changing. You want to be able to give it products that nurture that. However, you want to make sure that you're not just constantly manipulating your hair in different fashions and constantly introducing your hair to new products, because it needs to be able to have time to, you need to allow your hair time to figure out how it wants to react to that product and whether or not it likes that product. And so just making sure that you have a good regimen at the foundation is key. That's a very good basis to start with. Just make sure you have a core foundation. If it means that you have a consistent moisturizer, if it means that you do wash days on a certain day, obviously they'll listen to your hair. Like, you might want to change your wash day. If your hair is screaming like shorty, put some soap up in me, like, do that. You just, basically, you just want to make sure that you find a regimen that works for you. But honestly, having a regimen is key. It gives your hair some kind of routine. That way you know what your hair likes, what your hair doesn't, what's going to help cultivate that hair growth and make sure that your hair is healthy. Despite anything else, what your goal should be is healthy hair. Now, if you want to go for volume, if you want to go for length, those things are fine. But when your hair is healthy, you will see everything that is your ultimate goal in it, because when hair is healthy, it encompasses all those things. So finding a hair care regimen is key. This one I definitely had to learn. So your hair is not going to love products just because they're popular. Just because someone else uses a product does not mean that your hair is going to love that product. It does not mean that that product is for you. You have to understand that just because something's getting rave reviews and it's made for the black community, black hair, it doesn't mean that your hair is going to receive it. It doesn't mean that, you know, your hair is automatically going to like it. So obviously you can try those products, but if your hair tells you that it doesn't like that product, then you don't need to keep trying to apply it and forcing your hair to like it. Your hair will let you know what's good for it and what's not, depending on how it feels, depending on how it soaks up or doesn't soak, if it sits on the hair, if your hair absorbs the product, if your hair feels brittle and dry at the end of the application. Like, your hair will let you know what it likes. So don't just buy into the fad of, oh, this is the newest thing getting all the reviews and it's all the rave. That doesn't necessarily mean that your hair is going to like that, and that's fine. You just have to find out what your hair does like. Number 3, wash day is an entire day, or at least it can be. For me, it's an entire process, because if you do a pre-poo, that takes time. Then you have the actual washing. Then you have the detangling, depending on how you wash. Developing a good wash method is important, but you might have to detangle. Then you're gonna want to condition, and we don't do that 10 to 15 minute conditioning. No. Sometimes we sleep in our conditioner. Sometimes it's an hour. Sometimes it's 8. You do what feels good for your hair. But you know, you have to condition, then you have to go back in the shower and wash all that out, then you get out and then you do your normal hair care routine, you apply your products, you do your styling. Wash day can be an entire day. So when you gotta tell your friends you can't do something because of wash day and they look at you like you're crazy, let them look at you. You take care of your hair, sis, or sir, or bro, it don't matter. Do what you gotta do, okay? Wash day can be an entire day. So make sure that you set aside time for that. Especially so as your hair grows, as your hair gets longer and longer, and again, gravity is helping your hair and it's pulling those curls down, and your hair is going from like your hair grows out, your hair goes out and up, not out and down. It's just the way that natural hair grows typically. So as your hair gets bigger and fuller and more volume, then yes, your wash days will increase in the amount of time until you get a good system. Then you can cut down on that time impeccably. Number 4, your hair porosity is just as important as your hair type, if not more important. So when you hair type, that's when you get into the 2A, 2B, 2C, 3A, 3B, 3C. That's when you get into the number and the letter of your hair. So your hair type mainly encompasses the way that your curl pattern is, the way that your curls fall, whether they're looser or tighter, kinky or coily, things of that nature. However, that is just the hair typing portion of it. Porosity encompasses how porous your hair is. So whether your hair is open to receiving moisture or whether your hair doesn't receive moisture as easily, whether it's open to receiving it or whether it repels it. Your hair is either going to be high porosity, medium porosity, or low porosity. So if your hair is high porosity, it means that your hair likes moisture and it soaks up moisture with ease. It also means that your hair loses moisture just as quickly as it takes it in. Medium porosity is in between high and low porosity. So you have normal porosity hair, and then low porosity hair means that it is very hard to get moisture inside of your hair, but once it is in there, it is hard for it to leave. So basically, a good way for, if you're like me, and I now have higher porosity due to my lifting of the color, when you lift your hair color, the shaft of your hair, so normally the shaft is like this, you know, there's the follicles on the end and they kind of all follow like a uniform direction. When you lift your hair, those follicles then kind of open up, allowing for more moisture to insert within those different parts of the shaft of your hair. So if you're like me and I already had high porosity, my hair is now an even higher porosity. So it means my hair is going to soak up that moisture, but it's also going to leave just as quickly. A good way for high porosity people to keep in their moisture is to use oils to kind of seal that. So when your shaft is open with high porosity, when you apply oil on the shaft, then it kind of closes it down. It kind of silks it back down. For low porosity people, now granted, I don't have low porosity hair, but I know people who do. Low porosity people do better with products that are butter based rather than products that are water based, because again, your hair doesn't easily receive moisture. So you want something that's going to be a heavier texture, that's going to weigh your hair down more in order to deposit that moisture into your hair, because once it gets there, like I said, it doesn't leave your hair as quickly. So low porosity people do better with butter based products like shea butter, cocoa butter, things of that nature, mango butter. Any kind of like butter based product is better for low porosity people, and then water based products, cream based products, and some creams, depending on what they are, work for low porosity people as well. But cream based products and water based products tend to work pretty well for high porosity people. That doesn't mean that that's a blanket statement for everyone, that's just the general trend. And lastly, for number 5, it isn't cheap. It's not cheap at all to go natural. And I say that with discretion. I say that with a caveat. So basically, you can buy your products from wherever. If you want to source your products from Amazon, from Walmart, from Target, from a manufacturer itself, that's perfectly fine. You can get your products from wherever you want them. However, the products that are typically cheap, it typically means that they're readily made, like it's easy to get those products again. So it's whether they're being mass produced or whether they are just easily harvestable. Based on how easy it is to get the ingredients that are inside of your product will determine the price of your product. Ingredients that are cheaper to get means that your products will be cheaper. Ingredients that are harder to get means that your products will be more expensive. So just because something is $5 doesn't mean that it's good for you or your hair is going to like it. It just means that we're able to reproduce this very quickly so we can put it on the shelves for a fraction of the amount. Whereas if your products are hard to obtain, it's going to be like, look, this isn't easily replenishable, so we're going to charge you a little bit more to have it. Now those cheaper products, you might spend $5 on a bottle and have to replace it once every month. So in 3 months, you spent $15. But if you buy a $15 product that lasts you 5 to 6 months, you spent the same amount of money, but you don't have to spend as much money to replace it as quickly. So in the long haul, you kind of just have to weigh your options. What might be a cheaper fix right now might not be beneficial in the long run, and that's just something that you have to weigh. But that's a wrap for this video. I know that my last 2 videos were super long, so I tried to keep this one shorter. So if you made it to the end and you thought there were some good tips, go ahead and like this video. Drop down below in the comments what you think, and if there's any questions that you have, especially with porosity. I know porosity can be a hard concept for people to grasp. But drop a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Share my video if you think that this is some good information. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you guys in my next video.